Hello everyone, my name is Mad Science, and today I'm going to start a playthrough of, Let's Play of Disgaea Hour of Darkness. Couple of small things real quick. I am playing actually the original PlayStation 2 version on an emulator. There's been a couple of re-releases of this game on other systems, like I believe there's one for the PC, and there was also another one for like the DS or something like that. I'm not maybe there was PSP, I'm not quite sure. But yeah, I am actually going to be playing this on the emulator, and there's a couple of implications of that. First of all, I'm using double of native resolution, which means the game should in general look a little bit better, but we are going to get a little bit of visual artifacting. I discovered that when I was experimenting with this earlier. Like, there's going to be a little bit of hash marks and text boxes and whatnot, but for the most part it's going to make the game look a lot better, so we're going to be running it that way. Let's go ahead and get started. Now, this game came out in, I think, 2003 or so, and when it first came out, I actually played quite a bit of it. I think my master file for this got up to something like 170 hours or something on it, which is kind of ridiculous. I actually didn't even get to the really ridiculous parts of the game, because the game has quite a fair bit of extra side content that you can do, like item world and hidden dungeons at the end. I don't quite remember what their name is, but some special dungeons at the end and whatnot. And I found out many years after I played it that it's actually pretty trivial to level up to maximum level and then go through your reincarnation process over and over.
Prince, wake up!
And for it to actually not take all that long. So, you know, I spent 170 hours on a game that was 100% completable and significantly less than that, so I did feel a little bit silly about that, but hey, you know, the point of playing a game is to have fun doing it, so here we are, back at it again, many years later. I never quite got to all of the endgame content, so I'm looking forward to doing all of that. I'm not sure how much of that content I'm going to cover in actual video format, but during the main game I will at least do a playthrough, and if anyone has an opinion as to whether they want to see the rest of that content recorded and uploaded, I will consider it. Of course, if it winds up being another 150 hours, we're not going to be uploading that. That's just going to be way too much content for people to be interested in, I think. But yeah, so coming back into this game with all its previous context, are you sure you weren't trying it's hard to get away from some of my old assumptions about it. Like, last time I played, you know, I had a pretty standardized team. Like, I had an idea of what I wanted to do. It was all pretty generalized. A couple of fast characters, a couple of mages, a couple of ranged characters, a couple of frontline fighters, things like that. And it's funny to think back and kind of wanting to reincarnate my original team.
Big news.
So we'll see what I wind up deciding to do in this game. It's a little bit funny. I did a little bit of research to re-familiarize myself with some of the aspects of this game before I went ahead and started this Let's Play. But in doing that, discovered that, you know, there's some pretty overpowered classes that you can get to. They're pretty much quote-unquote endgame characters, but if you just plan for having all of those ridiculously powered endgame characters, you're pretty much only going to play the game one way, which is with just a bunch of male characters in order to make... They're called divine magians. And I just don't want to do the really tacky thing and just make a whole bunch of divine magians. So... excuse me. So, you know, there's a question here of, what do I want to do? Do I want to make a new team? Do I want to do the old team? Probably don't want to cheese it with just divine magians, so we'll see what happens. But for now, yeah, we're just at the start of the game, letting the beginning of the story play out here. Long story short, we're playing as this kid, and he's the Prince of Hell. There you can see the rightful heir to the throne of Hell. The king has died while we were taking a nap for a couple of years, which, at this age, I can understand wanting to take a nap for a couple of years. Wish I had that privilege. But yeah, so this is going to be the walkthrough, pretty much. The first chapter is pretty much just introducing us to all of the elements of the game, combat, character recruitment, stuff like that. There's a couple of things to do, from what I remember, in the quote-unquote overworld. There isn't an overworld, strictly speaking. Just the non-dungeon world is pretty much the castle that you hang out in. And we're gonna set up for some later things here, with a couple switches in here we need to get. Talking to all these guys is pretty boring. They're just gonna tell us things about the world, a little bit of our backstory, basic things about the game, stuff like that. But yeah, we're just gonna play through for a little bit. Probably won't have a whole lot to say for a little while. There's this guy here who's gonna give us some advice about various weapons and whatnot. This is one of the interesting things in thinking about planning for the end game. Is basically you've got a whole bunch of different like human classes. You know, mages, archers, gunners, swordsmen, etc., 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 and they all specialize in different weapons that you can all see listed here. I'm not going to go through all of these, but basically it comes down to, like, swords are kind of generally the best weapons. When you get all the way up to the highest level weapons, the sword is going to have the highest basic attack, except for one thing that I'll get to in a minute. All of the rest of these have slightly different advantages. Like staffs just increase your intelligence. You're never going to want to be swinging them. You just use them to amplify your magic, great fighting, whatever. Guns are ranged and work 100% off of your hit stat. So your accuracy stat, just ignore your attack, 100% accuracy. Bows are halfway between accuracy and your basic attack stat, so it gives some of both. The trade-off between these two seems a little bit silly to me, just in that if you're going to have high accuracy as a ranged character, why wouldn't you just go whole hog for the gun? There's a little bit of skill differences, but in general, even if you look at the weapons at the end game, the guns have better stats than the bows do, so it's like, this feels like wasted content to me, but we'll see. Maybe that's one reason to make a bow user, even though we don't want to use them, just to get a little variety. I'd say second to swords is probably the axe. The axe, I believe the base attack for the highest level axe is like 1500, where it's 2000 for the sword. So the axe is not quite as good, but still pretty decent. The advantage/disadvantage to the axe is that the attack patterns on the specials are very different, and they only target single squares, which can be both an advantage and a disadvantage because you're not going to be hitting your own characters, but at the same time, if you need to wipe out huge swaths of people at a time, that's not going to work so well. The other difference between axes and swords is that axes actually have an accuracy penalty on them. So you're less likely to hit with them and more likely to get... If I remember, I think this game has a glance and blows system where, like, you can get a partial hit, and if you get... Long story short, you are more likely to do less damage with your axes just based on their accuracy. The advantage, though, is that if you hit people with your axe, you are more likely to... Or, I'm sorry, not more likely. You have a possibility to decrease their defense stat, which can open up the door for much more abusive attacks later on, which is pretty helpful against ridiculously high defense characters, of which there are few. But when you do run into them, it's a serious problem. I forget exactly the name of the monster, but they're like these golems or something like that that are ridiculously overpowered. They have ridiculous defense stats. They don't hit super hard, but you just can't deal them damage. You need a breakthrough technique of some sort. And axes can go a long ways with that. Spears, I don't know how I feel about spears. When I originally played the game, I had a spear user in the form of Etna, because she's going to start out with a with a... Nah, I won't skip that. She starts out with a spear, and I just left her with a spear for the longest time. But,
Now then, time for...
the thing is, the highest level spear has a base attack of like 1,000 or something, plus whatever the variance is on it. And it doesn't have any of the special effects of like the axe, like the defense lowering or anything like that. The difference is you can use the spear from range, but I don't really feel like once it gets to the end game, like you auto attack, like you just basic attack with your spear all that much. So I don't really know how I feel about that so much. And combine that with the lack of attack, I'm sort of meh about it. Plus, a lot of the spear abilities, they displace you, which can be an advantage, obviously, if you need to escape from a bad situation. But I have not... It can also be restrictive, because if you want to use your big, strong spear attack, like your strongest spear technique, that's great, unless you're up against a wall and only have one direction from which you can attack the opponent, and the displacement would throw you outside the map, so you can't use your ability. So that kind of sucks. So I don't actually know if I'm going to leave Etna with a spear this time. I might give her an axe, which I think is one of the other weapons that she's okay with.
To show my appreciation.
But yeah, as you can see, quite a bit of humor in this game so far, and pretty much we're you know, we're the Prince of Hell. We're supposed to be evil, but yet at the same time, you know, we're a Japanese anime game where we're actually all secretly sweethearts inside. We gotta pretend to be badasses and whatnot. So
what are you?
At least that's the story I'm going with. So, this is going to be the basics of battle tutorial. Some of the mechanics of this game are pretty abusable, but I will cover that a little bit later as we get to it. For now, I'm pretty much just going to start following the basic game here. So, here we go. So, whenever you move out, you've got like a move distance, obviously, that you can go, and you can cancel any movement or action that you're implementing. So like basically when you start your turn, you enter this planning phase where you sort of deploy people, you tell them what you think you want them to do, you pick your targets, etc, etc, etc. But nothing is actually finished and resolved until you either execute the actions or end your turn. After that, you will not be able to undo whatever you wanted to do with the character that you're acting with. So Laharl is committed to this, and he's stuck there until next turn. Like Etna's saying here. And after we end our turn, it'll be the enemy's turn, and as Etna's pretty much instructing us here, if you deploy one person and nobody else to support them, you're gonna get your ass kicked. Unless later on you're pretty overpowered, but yeah, exactly. That's an example of something not to do. I think it's fine to rush into the enemy alone as long as you know you're ridiculously overpowered. In any given game, in any given scenario, map, whatever, you can deploy up to 10 characters, and that's why I was thinking about our team composition of what we wanted to do. What 10 characters do we want to run with, you know? Now, I believe we're going to actually play a map, yeah? Alright, stage start. First, I'm going to start by zooming out this camera, because I like the zoomed out view quite a bit better. We got 3 Prinnies here. I'm sorry, not Prinnies, these are ghosts. We've got Prinnies on our side, because, you know, they're pretty weak guys. But since I know that I'm never going to want to use these guys in the long term, I'm actually going to use these to set up kills on these weaker guys, so I can get Laharl some experience. I actually don't want to do this, because I want Laharl on the safe side. So I'm going to put this Prinnie here, and this Prinnie here. So these are pretty much just going to be complete flack. These guys are going to be useless. Now the thing is, whenever you attack the same character in a sequence, so I've planned out 3 attacks here, right? when this executes, total damage there, he's going to get in 5 damage. I'm going to screw this up, actually. Every time your combo goes up higher, see how it says combo count +2? That's because I attacked once, and then I attacked a second time, and then I attacked a third time. And because that was a chain of 3, each sequential attack on the same target during an execute order does increased damage. I actually don't 100% remember what the increase is. I want to say it's like a 10% increase in damage per, but that also seems like that can't be right, because this first guy did 5, I think the second one did 9, and the second one did 10, so there's got to be some variance in there. I'm not... 19 attack. What's this guy's attack? Okay. Maybe this guy just did so much more because his attack is so much higher. But, yeah, maybe it's like 10% or something like that. The second thing I'm going to mention about executing orders here is I'm going to move these two out here, and I'm going to have Etna try and set up an attack. Set up a bonus for Laharl here. Set up a kill. Get some experience. And you'll see in the top left it says chance of team attack. We'll see if that happens here. You'll see what I'm talking about. But when you do a team attack, yeah, there it goes. Basically, you get this special animation where your character that you team up with, and the character you can team up with can be either to your left, right, or behind you. So they have to be next to you, basically. When you team up with them, they basically join in and do some small partial amount of extra damage. I'm not 100% certain what the equation is on that one either, but yeah, it can have its advantages. That's one reason that things like, the spear can be useful, is because you can start an attack, you can like start a combo and then join in on a combo attack. I should learn how to differentiate between these two. We're talking about the difference between starting a combo in the event of like starting a sequential attack, like combo 0, combo 1, combo 2, then combo 3, so we get the increasing damage, and talking about let's call it like a combined attack or something like that, where you team up with the people next to you in order to do more damage. Alright, we're gonna get into basic stage 2 here. I'm not quite sure what that means. I wish I could just toss them. He didn't know exactly what throwing was. But yeah, this actually the throw mechanic is going to be a really big deal later on in the game when we get to some power leveling. I'll explain that in a little bit. But there's actually some really interesting things you can do with the throw mechanic here, which I will possibly point out later. I'm probably more likely to point them out as we get to them. So once Etna executes this throw order, she's done for her turn. Anytime you use a lift, it's like doing the first planning phase. You can cancel a lift at any time, but you can't cancel after a throw. Which creates some weird sequences, right? Because, like, if somebody moves, and then you pick them up and throw them, and then you select them and attempt to undo the thrown person's action, because they haven't executed an action yet, but they have moved, I don't quite know 100% how that works. We'll have to do a little bit of investigation, but the order of operations on this game is a little interesting and creates some really awesome exploitation that you can do. Yeah, we're gonna have to try and explore all the little mechanics of how we can abuse that a little bit. But we'll get to that when the time comes, I guess. Now, I know it just taught me about throwing and whatnot, so technically I could just throw somebody over and start dealing with these, but I actually think I want to lure them into me. And I might, let's see, how dumb do I think that is? Let's see. One of the things you can do with the throw mechanic is you can throw enemies into each other. And when you do that, they actually combine into a higher level monster. Which is good, because I believe experience rewards are exponential, so a level 2 monster gives out more than twice as much as a... I'm sorry, let's say we're combining 2 level 1 monsters, right? I don't want to do that. You just go ahead. If you combine 2 level 1 monsters, and they each give 1 experience, you're going to get something that gives out more than 2 experience. You're going to get a level 2, and it'll give more than 2 experience. So you can get into some situations in games where you really want to combine things for experience farming, but at the same time, you have to pay attention to not creating something that's really problematically big. Because here's the funny thing, is if you combine any 2 monsters, like this level 1 monster and this level 1 monster, if I remember correctly, the monster that gets leveled up is the one catching. So if I take this guy and throw it into this, it's gonna this will gain 1 level from this and become a level 3 whatever the heck this is, like a goblin or something. If I throw this into this, it's gonna be a level 2 Willock. I mean, that's its name, not its class. What is this? It's a ghost. So if we throw this into this, we're gonna get a level 2 ghost. And I believe if we throw this into this, we're going to get a level 3 ghost, but I'm not 100% certain. And that is actually super interesting, because you can use that to make enemies less threatening by combining them with other enemies. Because, for example, the base stats on this guy, like, this is a hobbit, sorry. Crap, we're going to have to kill a hobbit or Frodo Baggins. Hopefully it wasn't anyone who knew. But yeah, the Hobbit has a better base stats and stat growth than the ghosts do. I believe. Don't 100% quote that on me at this point. What that means is if we had like a level 100 ghost and a level 200 goblin, let's say level 100 ghost and a level 100 hobbit, what we could do is we could throw the hobbit into the ghost, and the combined the level 200 ghost would be weaker than the level 200 goblin would be. I actually, and that's something super important to pay attention to. I remember when I was a kid, multiple times I would accidentally combine all of the monsters into... One of my favorite things was to combine all of the monsters into one and then just beat the crap out of it with axes. It's one of the reasons I liked axes. But sometimes I would accidentally combine everything into a golem, so then it would be like a golem 10 times my level with ridiculously high defense, and I wasn't physically capable of doing any damage to it. And I felt pretty stupid about that. So, exploitable, but also vulnerable. You know what we're gonna do, actually? Yeah, you can lift. Let's go ahead and lift some of these and combine them. So, what we're gonna do is we're gonna start by softening these up, I think. When things get combined, they have less, they have health based on the health of the things that went into them. So we're gonna start by doing this. And I actually really just want to soften them up right now, which is why I'm not going for combos and for more damage right now. We're gonna do this, and then we're gonna have... yeah, actually, I'm just gonna have... I'll go ahead and do this guy. Probably this dude. Oh yeah, here's another awesome thing. Unlike most tactics games, well, some tactics games anyway, I guess I'm thinking of XCOM. I've been playing a lot of XCOM. But anyway, unlike some tactics games, you can attack and move in any order, which is rather nice. So we're going to put him over here. Unfortunately, we can't cancel that move, but that's alright. So let's see about making like a level 3 ghost at some point here. Oh wow, he got opened. Alright. Nobody has any special. No, I do have specials. Alright, let's test out this Blade Rush special. Oh, it's actually in here. Oh, so here's what we'll do. This is a great example of ways that you can use lifting and throwing. We're gonna put him in a line, And we'll just go ahead and do Blade Rush here. Go ahead.
Here I come.
Awesome. Yeah, so specials. I guess I didn't cover this. In this game, depending on which weapons you use, you'll learn different special attacks. So, you know, weapon-specific specials. And every weapon is different. I said that earlier about sort of pros and cons of spears versus axes, how axes hit only one target, which can be good or bad. Spears sometimes have some area of effect. Swords are pretty good, I'm gonna say. Let's actually do the gutsy thing here. Swords have a variety of specials. Yeah, see, now this guy's level 3. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna have this guy start a normal attack in order to set up a combo, and then Laharl's gonna execute him using Blade Rush. Unless we miss.
Here I come.
And that didn't quite kill. Hopefully this doesn't end badly for us. Maybe just the Prinny. Yep, Prinny dies. That's fine. We don't really care about those Prinnies. We're just gonna be using Laharl pretty much. And he doesn't have enough mana. SP, I guess. And we'll have Etna come in here, and that'll be the end of our turn.
Here I come.
Combination of tags, and Laharl has to kill him. Awesome. But I was saying about weapons. Yeah, just every weapon has different... Actually, before we go in here... it might be too late. Oh, no, wait, this is fine. I remember this from when I was doing my test earlier. This would be fun. But yeah, so different weapons have different effect zones. And as you can see from the sword, that Blade Rush ability affects the 3 squares in front of me, and the 4th square in front of me has to be clear in order for me to end in it before I jump back to my starting location. So that's like the, I guess I would say, the effect requirements. The blue is regions hit, yellow is regions that have to be clear, either because you're going to touch them during your attack, or because you're going to wind up in them after your attack, or something like that. Now Etna's telling us about geocrystals. This is another really interesting system, which I will probably explain later more when I get to the item world, because that's where it starts to become super relevant. But as you can see, there's these crystals, in this case this blue crystal, and this blue crystal increases the attack and defense of all enemies on it by 50% while they're on the color that matches it. So you can see that the pardon my phone there. You can see that there's the red territory on the ground, right? As long as there's a crystal on the ground, all of this on that colored ground, if there's any kind of tile on the red ground, all red ground has that effect on it. So right now, all red tiles are affected by this enemy plus 50% attack and defense. Now, if you kill a gem while it is on that colored ground, it will actually transform all of that colored ground into the color of the gem that you destroyed. So as you can see, we just killed the blue gem on top of the red squares, and that turned all of the red squares blue. Now, really awesome. There's some interesting and complicated things you can do with this later on, which we'll get into. I believe. Yeah, she just talked about the termination bonus, and you'll actually see that in just a minute here. Once we get into this level. So give me just a second, and we'll get into it. Alright, now, if you didn't notice, when we destroyed that blue crystal on the red territory, when these squares turned to blue squares, everything on the red squares took damage. And I'm not 100% as to how the calculation for how the damage taken works. I just know that it's some. Now, as you can see here, there's actually 3 crystals here. Now, this is set up in such a way that I can just go ahead and do this, so I'm just going to do it. But as I mentioned, if I kill this blue crystal, all of these red squares are going to turn into blue squares. But you'll see over here, see how this yellow square is, or this yellow gem is also on this red square. So the thing is that's interesting about this is because this deals damage as these squares turn to yellow square, or I'm sorry, turn to blue squares. That damage can also kill other gems, and that's super important because essentially what's going to happen is I'm going to kill this, and it's going to kill this in turn, and that's going to set up a combination, which it'll probably be easier just to show you. So we're going to start by killing this blue, and all of the red squares are going to turn into blue squares, and that's great. Going to deal some damage as it goes, and now finally it kills that yellow gem. Now, because it killed the yellow gem on top of now blue squares, all of those blue squares turn into yellow squares. So we're going to go through and go ahead and kill everybody there. Now, oh look, here's another transparent gem. So now, that transparent gem is going to go ahead and destroy all of the yellow tiles. It's going to remove them from the map. You can see this chain hit counter going up, and that's going to be super beneficial later. Because we removed all the colored tiles, we get the big flashy explosion that's going to deal extra damage to enemies. And the map's done. Pretty easy. And as you can see from the bottom right, when you do these combinations, you're pretty... Oh, wow, we got a legendary battle axe. That could be really helpful right at the beginning of the game here. But yeah, running those color combinations really ridiculously boosts your boost meter. Really increases your boost meter really quick, which is awesome when you have things like... once I get to covering the bonus gauge a little bit, I guess I'll just go ahead and do that. There's, during the game, during the maps, there's, there are bonus items you can get at the end of the level based on bonus effects that you do, which are kind of like combo attacks, hitting more than one enemy at a time, how much damage you do, stuff like that. If your bonus gets high enough, it'll go up a level, and you'll get that item. Like, if it gets to 1, you'll get the first item in the list. Later on, there gets to be some really amazing items at higher levels, so having those Geo Crystals is really amazing for getting, like, the 10th item in the list from your bonus list. It's a really consistent way of just getting tons of goodies from this game. Right now we're being explained to about characters. And as you can see, I told you about like the text box. You can see a little bit of those like black line artifacts that I've been talking about. But still, I think if you were to see this game in the resolution that it would be run at natively, I think it's worth it. Yes, we will definitely get thrashed in battle. Don't mind us. Oh, nobody to treat because we got an auto heal. Go ahead and save the game here. And then, if we have the mana... Okay. As she was explaining, whenever you kill enemies, you get mana, which I believe is shown in the status screen. Yeah, mana. Mana is used for various things outside the game, like strategic things. Not so much changing class, but things like petitions to the Dark Council, which I'll get over much later, making characters, reincarnating, stuff like that. And the way you get mana, actually, is by killing monsters. If I remember correctly, you get mana equal to the level of the thing that you killed, which is another interesting... I guess, actually... I was gonna say if you combine all the monsters, that's really convenient for getting a whole bunch of mana all at once, but not really, actually, because if you combine 10 level 10 monsters into a level 100 monster, well, you're still getting 100 mana either way, aren't you? So, let's see. Let's go ahead and create ourselves some new characters. Which I guess means... I guess Laharl's the only one with decent mana. we do want some kind of like generic characters here to start with. Now, these are some pretty... These are like the worst characters in the game. We're not going to do them. Let's talk about character creation just a little bit. Okay, so first thing. On this menu, you can see... I guess you've got description in the bottom left. Usually funny things. You know, here's a Casper, friendly neighborhood ghost. A fairy who loves to play pranks. Apparently they're not just hobbits, they're fairies. Or hobbits are a kind of fairy. I don't know. I feel like there's a joke there, but I'm not quite sure. Cleric uses curative magic. It's not that funny, but etc. etc. Just descriptive stuff, right? Alright. In the bottom left, we have mana, which is going to be relevant for, I believe, character creation a little bit later on. In the top left, we have starting stats. So, you know, brawlers are 16 HP, 5 SP, 12 attack, so on and so forth. Warriors, in the very top/top right, you can see some letters next to some icons, and those are proficiencies. They're basically how quickly you get good at different weapons. So this guy has an E in fists. That's pretty terrible. He has an A in swords and axes, though. So basically, if you're gonna make this guy, give him a sword or an axe. Excuse me. Similarly, female. Let's see. This is a male warrior. And interestingly, there are differences between males and females. Like, you can see that the male warrior is good with sword and axe, whereas female warrior is good with sword and spear. Their stats are the same. There's actually one other thing I'll cover. If you see aptitude in the bottom right, this is an interesting one. So, all items have stats on them, right? Like your equipment, weapons, armor, etc., etc., etc. The way aptitude works is when you equip an item, you get a percentage of the stats of that item on your character based on your aptitude. So if I equip this girl with anything that has health, attack, and defense, I'll get 100% of those stats on them. But anything that has SP or intelligence on it, like a staff, she's only going to get 60% on. So not only is she an E with staffs, and not only does she not learn spells, but even if you gave her a weapon and used some other shenanigans to teach her a spell, giving her int and SP boosting items would be terrible, because she'd only get half effect from them. And the aptitudes are actually different between classes and genders. So you can see, let's see, female warriors have less intelligence, but more resistance. Maybe that's resilience. If I remember correctly, that's essentially magic defense. But yeah, so it looks like, just from what I'm looking at, if you want an axe user, you probably want to go with a guy. But if you're just going for a sword user, you probably want a girl, because the intelligence isn't going to make a difference, but the resilience will. I am not sure what I'll do yet, so we'll come back to that. Then we got the Brawler, which is a different frontline class. This is more like the basic, like, fist fighter, I guess, whereas these are more like weapons users. Because you can see these have more health, more attack, less defense, more speed, more hit, less resilience. So basically, these are more tanky, and these are faster. And you can even see that by looking at their aptitudes, right? This is 100% attack, 100% HP, attack, and defense, and these are only 50% in defense, but 100% in speed and hit, whereas these are both only 80% in speed and hit. These two also have really weak resilience, so it's like, yeah, you're really pretty much going glass cannon with these. It's not real distinctive this early in the game, but it starts to show up later on. And it looks like the only thing these two are good with is fists. That's okay for now. Then we have monster classes, which are these three. None of the starting monster classes are any good, as far as I remember. Like, this guy has int, so he's sort of a magic caster, so I don't think he learns any spells. And then we have, I guess the Hobbit's okay compared to the Prinny. You know, all monsters have 100% of all aptitude, so that's not something you have to think about at all. It's pretty much just basic stats, and you can see that the monster classes don't have any aptitudes. Monsters only use monster weapons, and monster weapons are pretty good, actually. In fact, the most powerful items in the game by far. They're restricted items that you have to do special stuff to get, but they are, in the ridiculously endgame, monster classes have the best things you can possibly get. In general, I feel like monster classes are pretty strong, depending on what you need them for, but this early in the game, I don't feel like they add that much. And then we have some caster classes. 2 clerics, female and male. If you look at the aptitudes, it's kind of hilarious how much better the female clerics are. Their weapon aptitudes are the same, but the female cleric has 80% health, whereas the male cleric has only 70. The female cleric also has higher defense, whereas the male cleric has higher attack. So it's just like, let's see, to be a male cleric, you lose health, gain attack, lose defense, lose speed, and gain hit. Like, all of those stats are terrible, right? Let's see, even as a cleric, you're gonna get hit sometimes, so you want the attack and defense, and why the heck do you want attack and, or I'm sorry, you want health and defense to survive getting attacked, and you don't need attack and accuracy. This is for... Actually, you know what? I guess I take that back a little bit. Now that I think about it, I remember, back when I played this game before, that, that you can actually miss with your spells, even on friendlies. Anyway, we'll get to that later. And then you've got male mages and female mages. And we've got 3 kinds of mages: fire mage, wind mage, and ice mage. And we do need to get some of these. We need to get some mages going, but we actually really want to hold on to them for something we're going to do later in the game, so I'm not going to get these just yet. But I will start with a cleric, because a cleric is good. And this is where mana comes in. Wow. Okay, well, I guess we'll start with an incompetent cleric instead of a good-for-nothing cleric to start with. I believe there's like an auto-suggest function here. I don't know. Let's see what this gives us. Let's see. What do we want to name our cleric? She's actually not going to be our long-term cleric, I think. So let's just call her Clarice. I'm thinking of Silence of the Lambs for some reason. I don't even know if I'm going to be spelling this correctly. Whatever. It's just a name. And now we can give her bonus stats based on bonus that she starts with. And definitely can go with either SP or Intelligence. I think at the beginning of the game, you want more mana for... want more mana for healing more often. So now we've got Clarice, and let's see if we've got any kind of equipment we can give her. Oh yeah, we've got that battle axe. Actually, so I don't like Etna with the spear. I think I am going to switch her over to being an axe user this game. So we're actually going to set her up with this battle axe, which is going to be absolutely ridiculous, especially this early in the game. So take a look at this. This is how stats work, right? You look at this sword. It has 6 attack and 1 speed on it. I'm not 100% certain what Laharl's affinities are, but that's fine. If you look at his Imperial Seal, this thing is ridiculous for the early game. You know, like his maximum health is 54, and 20 of that, so 40% of his maximum health comes from this. His attack is 38. A quarter of his attack comes from this item. So this is ridiculous, right? Let's go over to Etna and give her this axe. Oh, holy crap. It has 30 attack on it. Like, it's I'm looking at the attack stats. Even with this thing, which is pretty abusive this early in the game, we're gonna give her this battle axe, and she's just gonna be nuts. We're gonna unequip these. Oh, it's the sword. And because I just don't want these braids. I will never use them. And then we'll give her. Let's see, what is there she can use? She can use amulets. Those will give her defense and resilience. Mint gum would be really good for resilience, I guess. SP, speed. What is this? I guess these are just like health boosting items. She can use these, so that's weird. Can she? Oh no, wait, it won't let me use these. And we can. Oh yeah, these weapon slots. Sorry. She hasn't got a weapon that we can use. Let's see if we can find her a basic staff to give her. Alright, buy. 591. Maybe this is the armor shop. Is this the weapon shop? Oh, cool. Free money. Oh yeah, here we go. Here's the weapon shop. Exactly like I was explaining earlier. Alright. Fist weapons, sword weapons, bows, spears, guns, axes, and staves. Yeah. Alright. I wish there was something to increase her mana, because I feel like, from what I remember, the power of healing magic was only moderately increased by... actually, maybe not even moderately. I think the healing power was mildly increased by your intelligence, but let's actually exit out real quick and see if the items change. Oh yeah, they did. This used to be a light staff or something different. But yeah. What was I saying? Oh yeah. I believe your healing power is only mildly influenced by your actual intelligence stat, and what you want is lots of mana in order to just heal more. So I feel like something like this is going to be good because it's got 5 mana on it. So we're going to go ahead and get her this basic staff and go ahead and equip that on her. Now that I think about it, I'm curious. Let's just give her all these crappy defense items. She'll, 12 defense. Yeah, she'll be fine. Now that I think about it, I'm actually super curious if you... I don't remember if you get, where you heal them up from upgrading them. I don't remember if you get experience for healing people. I think you must. I guess we'll find out in a minute here. Alright, but anyway, let's move on with the game for now. Yeah. We're gonna go out to Vir's castle and establish our dominance as Overlord. Read this? Nope, can't read that. Alright, gotta go lay our smack down and show people what we're made of. Proving grounds. Let's do this. Stage start. Here we've got a whole bunch of... Wow, enemy boost times 3. That's significant. But this is your welcome to Geo Gems. Did you study for your Geo Crystal exam? Why, yes, I did. We're gonna let's have Clarice do the lifting. Oh, wait, she can't do that from there. I need to get someone here. So it's gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 base movement. And she only has a base movement of 4. So we'll do Etna. Especially because she just equipped that axe, and I'm not certain how I feel about her ability to hit with it just yet. Like, it hits really hard, but we'll, you know, if you hit, but we'll see how that goes. Now here's a question. He just spent all of his mana to make this new character, right? Yeah, 0 mana. So what we're going to do is we're going to execute this, and then we're going to see if he has... Oh, that was insufficient. Maybe we're going to need Clarice to come out here and lay the smackdown on this crystal. I actually really want to see if she gets either mana or experience from this. I don't actually remember if you get anything from any effects accomplished by the Geocrystal effects, right? Like, yeah, this is gonna kill these guys. So is she gonna get experience from these kills or mana? Like, we'll have to check on that in a second. But hey, bonus gauge. Since that's racking up, I'll go ahead and actually show you. If you open up the menu, you can go to the bonus gauge, and this shows what you get at the different levels. And as you can see, the items from this one are pretty garbage. But, I mean, the money might be nice. The experience is probably the best thing. But let's check her and see if she got experience. She has 10 experience, which isn't a lot. She has 1 mana. So apparently you get experience and mana for killing Geocrystals, but not for anything that Geocrystal does. So now these guys are going to move in. And let's see if Etna is capable of landing an attack at this max.
Yeah!
Yes, she is. Bullseye, in fact, so she should be just fine. And since Etna went up level, she has more maximum health, and we will go ahead and heal her to see if we get experience off of that. Because if she doesn't, that's going to be a problem. No experience from healing people. Okay, so that means our clerics definitely need to have some offensive magic. Now, as far as getting a cleric some offensive magic, I'll cover that in a little bit. Here's one of the tricks that you can do with some of the shenanigans with this game. I clearly can't reach this guy. Like, I could go here and Blade Rush by hitting effect 1, 2, 3, end here, and bounce back. I could use my special to kill this guy. The funny thing is, if I don't want to spend SP, what I can do is actually return him to the home base, and now he's considered as having been removed from the map, and his move stats has been reset. So he can actually move again, and you can use this to bonk back and forth across the map. Like, if he was here, he could run into the zone, run into the home tile, redeploy, and then run out to here. So you can cover a lot of distance. We'll have him just kill this guy, and that'll be our turn. I realize I'm doing a lot of talking, like, mostly it's just sort of intro to the game. There's a lot going on, a lot to get familiar with in the game. So it's probably a very explanation-heavy first episode for this game. Hopefully, later ones will have a little more fun commentary once we get established what's going on with this game. Stage clear, easy peasy. Alright, I'm gonna actually exit out of here. I'm gonna go heal. And... go heal. What do I want to do next? I feel like we're gonna change up my cleric just a little bit. She's level 2 now, because she got bonus experience from the end of the level. One of the bonuses I got was an X plus 12, so so she went up a level, but I'm actually going to give her a gun, I think. Because I need her to have some way that she can possibly deal damage and go up a level. Or, you know, some way of securing kills and getting experience for herself. Later on, she'll be able to blow things up with attack magic that she'll get, but... Excuse me, drop my controller. Later on, she'll be able to blow up people with attack magic, but it's going to be a little bit convoluted to get her some attack magic, so one step at a time.
Wow!
That is a pretty nice castle.
Ah, that basement. Fool, that makes us petty.
It's true. We're supposed to be Prince of the Underworld here. We don't resort to being thieves.
Impartial and plunder everything.
Yes, exactly. It's not theft, it's plunder.
Hey there, you atrocious thief!
If it's done in the name of the country, it's legal, right? It's spoils of war.
Demon!
Quit complimenting. Now listen up. I want you to.
It will all be ours. Fill the war chest. Alrighty, got some geo crystals, a bunch of level 1 dudes up front. They're not really all that scary. What does this do? Oh, wow. So this is basically a bottleneck. So these gems say, when you attack an extra time, and while you're standing on them, you have extra defense. So, yeah, we just want to get some characters right onto those squares. But if the enemy managed to secure these squares before we do, we probably want to back up and make them come to us. And since we now have someone with a gun, we can just stand here and shoot them if they just camp there. But I don't think the computer's that smart, so we'll just start kicking some butt here. You can do that, and Etna will axe this person. Ha ha ha. And Reese will go out here and see what kind of damage she can do to one of these things. You're dead. You're dead. You're not quite dead. That's gonna take her some time. But we'll work on it. Harl and Etna can't even soften that guy up for her or anything like that. But we do have some pretties with no weapons that maybe we can at least start a combo, which will increase her damage when she finally takes a turn. So again, these guys are just going to be complete throwaways. Etna will move over here. I don't want to move her all the way up because I think it might cause these guys to activate and start coming towards me. So I just want to get within distance to get onto those squares, which means she needs to move 2 squares closer. She'll be there. That means next turn she'll be able to reach that. So those guys are going to go 1, 2, 3, and then hit that guy, and then she's going to try and execute it. Oh wow, they're probably going to kill that even with no items. Yep, that's exactly what happens. Oops. Alrighty. Harl and Etna are going to move up and secure these squares. Let's see then. These pretties. Let's do 1 attack. 3 damage. What's your attack? 10? 10? 10. So if they all attack like this, that should do a little bit more than 6 damage? Question mark? Nope, less than that. There must be a height advantage thing that happens. Alright, she'll attack that, and I'll end my turn.
I'll finish this!
Oh no, I have taken a completely insignificant amount of damage. Oh no, I've taken a completely insignificant amount of damage! Oh yeah, counterattacks. So if you're confused as to what's going on there, every character has a stat. If you see Demon, it says top left, Laharl, Demon Prince, level 4, counter 2. What happens there is when somebody gets attacked, they will counterattack up to a number of times that number says. And those can chain back and forth. So like this guy, you can see he initiated an attack on me, and I countered once with Laharl, and that counter activated this guy's counterattack. So he counterattacked, my counterattacked, and then I have another counter, so I countered his counter. And I actually wasn't paying attention. I don't know if he countered again after that. I don't know if a normal attack uses a counter count. I need to find a way to say that better. But yeah, I'm not sure if that uses 1 for 2. We'll find out later. She's gonna finish off that guy, and they're gonna finish off the little guy. Yeah, it's good.
Here I come!
It's funny how Etna joining in with her,
Here I come! Yeah!
with her axe there does like a third as much damage as Laharl does, even though it's just a side attack. And she already attacked. My prings are useless, so that's the end of my turn. Like, Etna's gonna get attacked, and she's probably gonna counterattack and kill that guy. Oh no, wait, she already used her attack. Okay, so what that tells me then is attacking uses 1 digit off of your counter, and it resets at the beginning of your turn. So she attacked, putting her counter to 0, and then when she got attacked, her counter was 0, so she didn't counterattack at all. We're gonna put her right here. Actually, you know what? I think if I put her on top of this... This guy's level 3. It's a good question. I'm going to try and put her on top of this and shoot him, because she's going to get a shot plus 1 because she's on this. We'll see how that works out. Laharl will go ahead and kill this guy, and she will do this, and we'll execute that and see what happens. And if I need to, Etna, fine. Laharl's gonna kill that guy. Great. Fantastic. And Etna will wander on over here. Laharl might counterattack and kill that guy. Hey, Etna's learned a special ability. Let's see if Laharl kills this guy.
Here I come!
Not quite, which means he's in prime territory to get killed by this chick. And you know what? I want to put you here and defend. I just kind of want to feed mana to my cleric right now. And actually, I also need to use her to heal. Oh, wow. Attack plus 1 apparently also affects your spells. Did it cost mana as well? Heal costs 4, and she's missing... What is that, 14? So probably she went up a level and gained 6 or so, and then, oh, she's gonna counter this. Yeah. Probably she went up a level and gained 6 mana, and then ended up paying 8. So yeah, I'm gonna guess that it probably does spend the mana on attacks plus 1 on spells. So I'm gonna go ahead and go over here and heal. And since Clarice now has some mana, I actually want her to create... I don't want to do that just yet. Yes, I do. I'm gonna have her create some crappy little mages. And the reason for this will become a little bit clear in a minute. Who's going to be good for nothing? Shidoshi, that's a fine name. And we'll take it away from your attack. That's fine. Okay. Yep, that's fine. Clarice is going to create another useless mage. Green mage, good for nothing. We'll take... Whenever you create a new character, I don't know if you guys are noticing this, but when you create a new character, or reincarnate a character, you, the quality of the character you create depends on the mana you spend. So you see how this says, you have 5 mana, you need 1 mana to make a good-for-nothing character, and the ability bonus is -5. And what that means is when I create this character, I have to subtract 5 stats from her starting stats somewhere. And that's fine because it's a mage, I'm just going to take it away from her attack. Whatever. But as you spend more mana, you gain ability bonus, you can add more starting stats when you start. And then you can like pour them into intelligence and whatnot, and that makes a big difference because when you go up a level, your stat increase in each thing is increased by like a percentage of your base stats. So if you create a genius with 10 extra intelligence, well, her base intelligence is 13, so then you start her with 23 instead, and you almost double her intelligence gains for every level. Or something like that. I'm not quite sure about the algorithm, so don't quote me on that, but you get the idea. And Anastasia. It's a pretty name. I like it. It's too bad she's going to be completely useless. Now, the reason we do this is that in this game there's something called a master and pupil system. So you can see if I switch to this tab for Laharl, it shows you, I guess it's mentor and pupil, it shows you who his pupils are and who his mentor is if he has any. And the reason this is relevant, 2 things. Firstly, for every statistic in the game, including health, mana, attack, defense, hit, you find the pupil with the highest stat in that stat, and you give yourself 10% of that stat. So right now, he's getting 10% of Clarice's... Well, what's Clarice's highest stat? Health, I guess? Maybe it's not health or mana. Let's assume it's not. So he's probably getting 10% of her resilience right now. So 2.5 bonus resilience from having her as a pupil. The other extra thing is that you can learn the spells that belong to your pupils. So the reason we did this is that now that she has these 3 mini-mages that are her pupils, she's going to be able to learn their attack magic that they already know. And I literally don't want these mages for anything other than teaching really basic attack magic to my cleric. Now, it's a little bit silly for me to be doing this, just because, let's see, I actually, when I get the cleric that I want to have, I want her to be a pupil to, or I want her to be a pupil of someone else, not Laharl. So I actually don't think I want to keep this character in the long run, but I need her to actually to at least be levelable so that she can sustain me until I get to the point where I can really start building the team that I want. So let's look what's going on here. We got some geocrystals. Recovery 40%, so recover 40% of your maximum health each turn if you're standing on blue tiles. Where are the blue tiles? Oh, they're in the water. So basically, stand in the water, get healed. It's an interesting mechanic. And then, let's see. Let's see if we can go ahead and have Clarice use some magic here. I believe you have to be standing next to the character that you want to cast magic from. Yeah. Alright, so if I bring out a fire mage and have her cast fire, it's going to be short ranged. I'll go ahead and have her cast it on the character weak to fire. So Clarice is going to come out here, and I'm going to put Fire Mage next to her, and then we're going to cast Fire. Now, the thing is, the reason we do this is, you see when I go to cast this, it says level 0. If I cast this enough times, I believe it's 4. If I cast this 4 times, it'll go up to level 1, and she'll innately learn this ability. And she'll be able to cast it whenever she wants, whether her pupil is next to her or not. So basically, I just have to stick these mages next to her, and have her cast their abilities, until she learns what I want them to learn. And I probably should have given her a staff. That would have been smart. But now I need to protect her, so I'm going to move Laharl out and put him in the front line here. And I'm going to bring Etna out and put her in the front line here, and I don't want them to kill anything. Well, man, how do I feel about this? Yeah, I don't want them to kill anything, because these are level 3, and these are level 4, and are probably tougher and more dangerous. So I want to go ahead and feed these guys mana to her for now. Mana and experience. So we're just going to end. I actually wonder if, now that I think about it, if there's a purpose to getting the... I'm just going to kill them on the counterattack now that I think about it. Well, that was a little silly of me, wasn't it? Oh wow, they didn't die. That's good. This guy lost 12 health, so her next fire ability isn't going to kill it, but it will kill this one. So let's have her kill this. Oop, no, wait, gotta move the fire character over. Burn! Yes. Okay. Where's she at? Fire... looks like it's about 40%, so I guess that's probably 5 casts in order to learn it innately. And then Etna... I'm gonna put there, and I want you to defend, and I want you to go here and defend, and we'll see what happens. I'm actually really curious if you counter even while on defense, or if that's something that specifically means don't counterattack. Looks like it means don't counterattack, so we're just gonna sit here and milk experience from these guys for this chica. You need to get out of the way. You want to cast... well, what's her intelligence like? 13, compared to this. Alright, she's not going to kill this if she casts that. So we'll do that. And that's going to let her come over and kill it. Kill it with fire. Kill it! Kill it with fire! Not quite. I was mistaken. And you just defend. Harl's just taking no damage, and it's nice. And now she's got a gun. Alright, actually, I was looking at the wrong thing. Fire's right here. So I gotta cast fire one more time, and then she's gonna master it. So, we're gonna have her do that. And we're gonna stick the Fire Mage back in, because now she has learned fire permanently. And we're gonna have Etna deal some damage here. Go nuts, Etna. And Harl's gonna come down here and set up to kill that guy down there. Because I want to actually get, I want to get a hold of this this water fountain down here, so that I don't have to spend her mana on healing people. So, yeah. Harl's just gonna go down here and execute this guy. Yeah, execute. Oh, wow. Holy crap! That guy has a whole bunch of defensive stuff. Well, that's a problem. Okay. I know what I can do. I'll just... no, wait, that won't work, will it? I don't know, I'm gonna have to think about this for a second. Meantime, Harold gets ganked by ridiculous arrows. This guy didn't attack me. I guess he's just passive? Question mark? Now, I would like to sword dash these two, but as you'll notice, this is what I was talking about zone restrictions, right? Like, he can't attack into the void, so he can't actually use this ability. So he's gonna have to... I guess he'll start out by standing here and just beating on her. Seems fine. Etna will go over here. And I actually want Etna to go completely bonkers on these guys. I'm going to have her use her special ability. Now this is, like I was saying, one of the abilities of axes. One of the nice abilities of axes is, you can see the target for it is literally just the square in front of me with nothing else. So they're extremely versatile in terms of letting you just use your weapon whenever you want to. Or using your specials whenever you want to. Which is nice, because your specials always get a hit bonus on them. So one of the interesting offsets to the hit penalty of using an axe is the fact that you can pretty much always use a special, which sort of gives you back that lost hit bonus and is going to deal more damage on top of it. But one step at a time. See, the recovery, this recovery trigger happens at the end of the opponent's turn, so I really don't want to stand somewhere that these archers are going to be able to just kill me. I guess let's put you right there and see how this goes. Oh wow, it looks like she's in trouble. A little bit, yeah. Okay. Laharl, you're gonna kill this chica. That should be doable. Now here's one of the exploits that I was mentioning of sequencing things correctly. So I'm actually going to put Laharl right here and attack into this, and it's going to give me a 70% chance of getting extra damage off of Etna, which I don't need right now. I got it, but I got the bonus damage. I didn't need it for this kill, but okay. Oh wow, it shares the experience. That's interesting. Gonna have to remember that one. I guess that's a way to get another way to get casters' experience is to have them participate in a kill like that. But the other thing is, Etna hasn't done anything. Even though she helped out Laharl, she can still fully move and attack. So you can do all sorts of shenanigans where it's like, imagine I had a whole army of people, and I just put a whole bunch of people next to Laharl. I moved them next to Laharl, had Laharl initiate an attack and combo with them, and then canceled their movements. So they just ran over, helped, and then went back to their starting location. I'll probably show you, I'll probably demonstrate that later on, but most of you probably are going to get what I mean. It's pretty abusive, actually. So Edna's just going crazy with her axe, and this girl's going to come over, and I don't think Etna's in any trouble. This guy hasn't done anything, and yeah, he hasn't done anything, so I'm just going to end my turn here, and I'm going to let the fountain heal Etna up. As soon as she has a chance to take a run in there. Now these guys are in a nice happy little line. So we're just gonna go ahead and... Oh, apparently not. Okay, so Blade Rush. Top right corner says you can dash up or down 12 DM. I have no idea what that stands for, but basically height. So he's at 24. He can dash down up to 12, so he can hit this. He can hit this. But his terminating square is 35. No. 1, 2, 3. So he can hit this square, but he would have to end here, and that's 17 height above him. So he can't execute that attack. But we can get around that by putting him right here, because now the termination square is right here, and we have him Blade Rush right through that. Gonna kill that guy pretty easy. Etna I'm going to stick in the healing water, but not somewhere that she can get stabbed by a spear. And this girl's defense is 16, his is 28. I think she'll be okay if I leave her right here. So we're just going to end like this. Yeah, she's fine. Okay, this guy, Chen, weak to ice, level 4, 21 health. Who do I want to do this? Etna, I think, would kill him. 56. Yeah. Kind of want to... I don't think I want to do anything more with Clarice this game until she... Yeah. I'm going to save her mana, like, because I want to get her a staff. I want to be doing more damage. I want to have more mana. I want to use her mana intelligently for the rest of this, which means I'm just going to, like, auto-attack this guy to death, which I think means I want Laharl to do this, and we'll see if he can get Clarice involved in it. And if he does not, then we'll have Etna finish him off.
Eat this.
Etna finished him off. Okay. And we'll go ahead and end our turn, get some heals. We're going to end one more time, get some more heals. This guy is weak to fire, so here's what we're going to do in order to kill this guy. You are going to get lifted and thrown out of the healing pond so that I can actually kill him. And Etna will go here and special him. Harl will go here and take a swing at him.
You're dead. Ha!
Easy peasy. That's the end of my turn. Now, I could kill this guy with her. I think. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. I believe since my fire is level 1, it's now... Yep, it has increased in range. So we'll just go ahead and do that. Kill it with fire! And Etna will continue to get some experience. She's just gonna go... And you see, you're starting to see what I mean about axes, right? It's like, she has 22 maximum mana, and this ability costs 3. So she can use this ability 7 times in a game.
You're dead.
I guess I should do some damage comparisons to figure out what sort of damage that's like, but that's pretty decent. And Laharl should... No, he got a glancing blow. You can see that from the nick that pops up from the top. Looks like Etna's getting burned. And... she's resistant to fire, so we can't kill her with fire. Maybe we can kill her with a gun. Nope, not quite. Let's have Laharl do this then. There we go! Easy game. Nothing interesting from the rewards, but we do need to re-equip Clarice with a staff, since she now has the ability to do magic damage. And have everybody get treated. Looks like there's a prize I can claim, which is pretty random. Okay, and I think that should do it probably for an episode 1. So I will end it here. Might be a little bit long. But yeah, so you're starting to get the idea for the game. We're going to work on leveling up our team a little bit next episode. Try and build up our tree of mentors and pupils. And yeah, tune in next time, and we'll get this thing going. See you next time. Bye-bye.